Welcome to another episode of Don't Call It Small. I'm your host, Natasha Foreman. If you don't know about me and you have no clue what this podcast is all about, let me share a bit. I'm the CEO of ForemanAssociates, LLC, where we provide consulting, business support, and professional development services. And Don't Call It Small is where we talk all things business, share tips and news that you can use, and highlight the people and ideas behind the products and services that we buy. To learn more about us, please visit ForemanLLC.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 20 of Don't Call It Small. I'm so excited to be here with you today. I'm really excited to also share that tomorrow I will be releasing another episode 21, where I will be highlighting a Christian singer, composer, producer, rapper by the name of Delphia, and we'll be sharing some of her tracks. So if you're interested, be sure to tune in tomorrow for episode 21, where we can highlight this young and upcoming artist. So today, the focus is going to be on the woman that you voted for on social media. If you remember, we asked about 2 weeks ago which of our episode 6 businesswomen that you wanted us to interview first, and we tallied those votes, and she's the one with the most votes. So I sat down with her, and we had a great time, and I want to be able to share that interview with all of you. So without further delay, all right, today is a special day because today I'm interviewing the one and only Octavia Weems. If you're a regular listener of the Don't Call It Small podcast, then you remember when I first briefly shared details about Octavia in episode 6. If you never heard episode 6, let me catch you up real quick. Octavia Weems wears many hats. She's a wife and mother of 2 adorable daughters. I mean, adorable daughters. She's an up-and-coming artist, inspiring others to explore their creative side. She's the powerhouse behind online thrift store Thrifters Paradise, which is available on eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, and I'm sure on other locations by now since I shared episode 6. We're going to ask Octavia about that shortly. And she's an accountability business coach. So join me in welcoming Octavia Weems to the Don't Call It Small Business Podcast. Good afternoon, Octavia.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing pretty good, thank you.
Well, we tried to do this a few moments ago using Skype, but Skype wasn't trying to cooperate. So we're just going to do this the audio way, and then that just gives me an opportunity to interview you again in the future via video so that people can see you in person, so to speak. So I know you have a lot of things to do today. There is no off days when you're a family person. There's no off days when you're an entrepreneur. So I won't keep you long, I promise. I just want to give our listeners the opportunity to get to learn more about you, the products and services that you provide, and maybe be inspired to make boss moves like you. Because, we love good stories, but it doesn't mean that we're oftentimes willing to break away from our own fears and pursue our dreams. So hopefully your story and hearing you will inspire someone to do so. Now, we've known each other since 2011, possibly 2010.
Right.
And around 2013, I don't know why, but no, I'm joking. Around 2013, you asked me to take on more of a mentoring role, and so it has been an amazing relationship, and I know so much about you. But the vast majority of my listeners don't, and it's like even people that you're going to tell to listen to this, they may not know certain things. And I want to make sure that people get to know more about you. They can take a sneak peek into your world. So are you ready to let them take a sneak peek into Octavia's world?
Absolutely.
All right. Now, a few weeks or months or so ago, I revamped the mission statement for my company, Foreman Associates. I realized that what our past statement was no longer a mission, but more along of a value statement. It kind of guided certain ways in which we operated, but it really wasn't the mission. It wasn't, why we were in business. And our new mission statement is to help individuals and companies identify, pursue, and achieve their why. And the question I have for you is, what is your why? Why do you do what you do every single day?
I do what I do every day, and it stems from my own childhood, is because I never wanted to raise my kids or the kids that I knew I would have one day the same way that I was raised. I grew up with a single mom who worked 2 jobs, and I always wanted to be home with my kids. So now that they are here, that's my true motivation. And even prior to them coming into this world, I always wanted to have a business. I wanted to be financially sound, just so I would not have to work as much as my mother did for someone else, and I could spend more time with my family and my kids.
Interesting. Now, this will definitely speak to a lot of people who are either already parents or have a desire to be, but also just people that have various mental blocks, that will then perceive those blocks to be reasons why they should not take this step. So what exactly interests you about business? I mean, I understand that the story of making sure that you have the flexibility, but some people may just say, I'll just find that one career that'll give me that type of sense of freedom. But there's something that draws you personally to business and entrepreneurship. Why do you pursue that? Like, it would be, you could just sit back and say, I'll just keep ladder climbing until I reach the level of financial security, so to speak. What draws you to being an entrepreneur?
I think it's having a sense of control.
Okay.
Being in control of your own destiny, being in control of what time you want to get up every day and what time you want to take a break, and the amount of money that you want to make, and just the type of life that you want to live. When you work for somebody, you're at the mercy of that company. And I heard there was a gentleman that had a talk, and he was saying that he traded in his one job for 1,000 jobs, because now your clients or customers or your guests now become individual companies that you work for now, instead of having that one single person or one single job that you report to. And I believe with having several bosses, you still have that flexibility. You have the opportunity to say who you're going to say yes to, who you're going to work with, and with whom you're not going to work with.
That's interesting. So you mentioned the control. So describe your personality. Let's see if it resonates with anyone that's going to be listening.
My personality is very fun, funky, high energy, positive. What else can I add to my personality? Highly organized. I'm an organized thinker, highly analytical. I like to have fun and just enjoy the moment and be creative and just really entertain. I love to entertain people. I like to solve puzzles and solve just different issues that may come about. And I'm trying to think what else to my personality. Yeah, just like to entertain, have fun, organized, and I think that's about it.
So you mentioned puzzles, and I know we're going to come back to puzzles in a little bit. When you're sharing your personality, now I've already said I know you quite well, but anyone who is entrepreneurial understands it, that I know it clicked with them. There's a commonality of those characteristics, especially with those that thrive, whether they are entrepreneurial and they're working as an entrepreneur for another company, right? They could be a VP or a high level, manager, or just even on Frontline, but they have an entrepreneurial mindset. Those characteristics, but they're also the same that you see in so many people that are self-employed and they build themselves as business owners. And it's that creativity, it's the drive, it's that structure and the order, it's the ability to put puzzles together to solve problems. And I think that some people don't really understand that they have that in them, and those are the different ingredients that help to really, separate those that can start and build a company and those who are better honed to helping someone build a company. And you definitely have those ingredients, because every entrepreneur that I know, it is that this free spirit, it is the creativity, and in the ways in which it comes, and it is the ability to have a sense of organization, because that you're constantly having to go to think and imagine in ways that other people either can't or they're just too fearful to do so. So this is a very interesting. So anyone that's listening, you may see this in your child or you may see it in yourself, and you have to really dig deep within to pull that out. And it's a scary thing, am I right, Octavia? For some,
yes. I mean, you're definitely right. And even touching on seeing it in your own kids, my mom tells me, and I actually do remember this. When I was younger, one of my favorite candies was M&Ms, and from, I would say, maybe about the age of 5, I would always open my entire pack. I would spread them out, and I would separate them by color and eat them evenly across. So the organization has just been there the whole time.
Oh, my goodness. So you just shared the M&Ms. Now, I already know that you've owned more than one business, so I want you to share about your first business and why you started it.
So my very first business was a candy store that I had. I had a bubblegum machine when I was about 5 years old, and I understood that the quicker that I could empty out all of the gumballs was when my mom would open the gumball machine and she would give me the money to put in my piggy bank. So I went out and I started doing all this marketing, right? Telling all my friends in the neighborhood, hey, come over to my house and come buy my product with my gumball. And eventually it came to where we had a line wrapped around my apartment building from the front door of my apartment. So that was my first business. But as an adult, my first official business was Tiny Steps Learning Center. It was a daycare that I started when I was 22 years old. And I had that business for a little over 3 years. And I started it just out of, some people start businesses just from taking on a family business, but mine actually came from being unemployed. I had actually I got fired from my first job, and I went into survival mode. I'm like, oh God, I have a mortgage to pay, and how am I going to pay this mortgage? And I knew I always wanted to start a daycare, but here I'm forced to do it now. So baked up some brownies and some cookies. I know this sounds kind of cliche, but I baked my way into starting my first company. And I went to beauty salons and barbershops and just anywhere I could sell my brownies and my cookies. And eventually I raised up enough money to buy the supplies that I needed to start my daycare. And started that business, like I said, had it for just about 3 years and closed it due to a mistake that I think a lot of businesses make in the beginning is the failure to market or continue to look for new business. I think we get comfortable with the amount of business that we get because we're able to pay our bills and we're able to live and travel, and we forget that classic sales term is you have to keep your funnel full.
And that is something that we're going to go into greater detail about, because I think a lot of us, and on every episode, I always share some of my own failures. I share some of my own goof ups, right? In my learning, that's my whole part of being able to also give back. And I can admit the times with different businesses, including ForemanAssociates, where I would get comfortable and not feel the need to then continue building and expanding, like as far as the outreach to get more clients. The problem with that is that at some point, clients move on, or projects, there's nothing else to do. You've already done all you can. And then you sit back and you like, wait a minute, because that revenue is not there that you have grown accustomed to having. And I think that is definitely one of the biggest things that we do as the self-employed and as business owners, is that we forget that we have to keep grinding just like we did in the very beginning.
Oh, yeah. You're only as good as your last sale.
Yes. So what, besides the marketing, what other issues did you struggle with the daycare business?
With the daycare business, the other thing that I struggle with now that I have a better understanding of business, is you have to have an understanding of the political climate. What was going on in 2008 really affected what was going on in Washington in 2008, and with the banks and with the auto industry really affected my business. And you would think, hey, I work with kids all day. I'm not a part of the government. I don't own an auto dealership or anything like that. Well, when these industry started to crash, when the housing industry crashed and when the auto industry was crashing and we had this big thing called the bailout, well, a lot of my parents lost their jobs. And it affected me because when people aren't working, they don't need childcare. So being aware of what's going on in politics is something that is very important, that I believe a lot of entrepreneurs and businesses don't really take into account as being important. But I was a victim of that, and my business was a victim of that, and I would encourage those to stay aware. Keep your ears open.
Those are good points, because we don't think about that. And when you said it hit me like that makes sense, because if I'm unemployed, I have no need. There's no way I'm going to take money out of my household to give to someone else to watch my children. I would watch my children at home until I got another job.
Absolutely.
That is a very good point. Then there's a lot of things, and I can't remember which episode I shared during that same period of time where you had people that were launching restaurants and clothing stores, and we're not realizing that when people our income starts to shrivel up, we're less flexible with how we spend it. We're not going to we're like, okay, we have to cut corners, and where can we cut corners most? And that it definitely makes sense in those areas. So you have those lessons to share with that. And I'm sure that there is someone who has a daycare. As a matter of fact, I had a student at Atlanta Technical College who worked for a local daycare. And it's interesting because some of the things that they've been struggling with for the past couple of years, it's something that I really feel that you would be able to help them with, because they're on the verge of possibly, going belly up, because I don't think they have the right structure managerially. And as you know, most of us that start a business, it's our baby, and it can be hard for us to let someone else come in and say, point out all the things that we're doing wrong. But I feel that if we ask for help, then we can actually not only survive, but we can thrive. And I feel that, there's so many daycare providers of all sizes, right? Who sometimes you get comfortable, or you don't try to push yourself to try something new and different. And, people then start to look elsewhere, or people, like you said, if their times get tough, they start looking at how much you need from them, and they decide, well, I won't use you. So I definitely feel that that's a great opportunity for you to be able to help. So if anyone's listening, I hope that you do reach out to Octavia and have her coach you through the best ways to build, and also to possibly revamp your services as a daycare provider. Now, Octavia, you have had other companies besides the two that you shared. How many additional companies from not including what we're going to currently talk about, we'll be talking about as far as your current ventures, but past ventures? How many of your past ventures after those two have you had?
Oh goodness, I probably have lost count. I think I've really tried several things. So let me ask you, does any of the multi-level marketing businesses count or no?
Yes, they definitely do.
Okay. So if the MLMs count, I'm thinking of somewhere around maybe 7 or 10 different businesses that I've tried to start or have started, and I just didn't give up.
Okay, so share. Go ahead. Let's get the list.
Okay, so one was Primerica. I was a insurance agent with Primerica for about 2 years. I enjoyed that business due to being able to educate people on financial literacy and being able to provide them with insurance for their family in the event of an unfortunate, in the event of their unfortunate demise. I have been a representative with Mary Kay. I enjoyed that business, once again, because you're dealing with people and you're making them feel better with a skincare regimen, with beauty products, and things of that nature. I have had a consulting business. I've had a web developer business, web development and graphic design business, just because I knew the ins and outs of it. I've had, what else? I've even tried to go into business with other people. That was a struggle. I went into business with 5 other females. I really wanted to get all of us girls together, and we're going to start this business, and we're going to pull strengths from everybody and really bring it together. And didn't realize with that business that the saying is, too many chiefs, not enough Indians. That's a real statement if you've ever tried to start a venture, a project, or even as simple as having bridesmaids. There is, without real leadership, you are destined for pretty much for failure. And I'm trying to think what else. I've had a grant writing business. I've had let's see here, general consulting, and I'm trying to think what else. I've lost track.
so
I've really lost track.
I love it because I was also with Mary Kay Cosmetics for 3 years. And
oh, wow. I never knew that. Wow.
Yeah, I was. And it definitely did lay some amazing foundational layers within me that I still look back to, that I still draw from, especially the mindset of, remember how they taught us, you just keep getting those no's, and eventually those no's will turn into a yes.
Yeah.
Mary Kay definitely taught me how to get past my fear of rejection, because oftentimes we don't want to go into sales because we don't want to be rejected. And they helped me to also realize that every day, it sounds weird, but to say every day you sell yourself, right? Every day you're marketing yourself. And I never looked at it that way. And I'm like, what? And they said, every day you do. And you've actually learned how to do it as a child. Right?
Right.
So how we convince our parents to give us things or to buy us things. So you mentioned the consulting. So what, and interesting, I forgot about the web design and graphic design. I actually need to speak to you.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. And then let's see, but I'm loving that you're sharing this, because there are a lot of people that can actually benefit from your knowledge and your wisdom because you've had the different experiences. There was something, now the consulting, you had 2 different consulting businesses. Can you share about those?
Well, one of them was, I was a project manager. That one particular business flourished very well. The project manager for a tree service for about 4.5 years. During that project, I managed the DeKalb County, Georgia professional tree services contract, and that contract was worth about $4.1 million of work that the DeKalb County needed. And for that company, I mean, I came in, I was pretty much a turnkey contractor, consulting contractor, and I mean, that business taught me how to really manage projects based on an emergency. I mean, tree service it's a tree that fell on the house. We have to assemble the laborers that we're going to need. Do we need to climb the tree, or do we need a crane? Do we need people to block off streets? Is there electrical lines involved? I mean, there's so many things that needed to be taken into account to get each individual job or each individual project done in a timely and very safe manner. So I really enjoyed that project. And like you said earlier, sometimes when you have that one client, same thing I did with the daycare, you fail to keep your funnel full, and when that contract is over, your client is done, your project is over, and now you're stuck. You don't have a follow-up because the money was so good or the opportunity was so great, and you put age-old saying, you put all your eggs in one basket, and we really shouldn't do that.
That's true. You just gave me, I have a future episode that's going to cover government contracting and the ins and outs. And your name is already listed as one of the people that I want to interview. So this is a great feeder into that future episode, because it's something that you and I have discussed, and I've said that in ways in which people have been, contacting Foreman Associates, that we should do more things through government contracting to be able to reach other people. And of course, I always share with other companies in ways that they should do it. And I really feel that I wanted to do an extensive, a multi-episode, really extensive look into that process so that people can really understand, because it can be a little intimidating when you're seeing all these different, classifications and categories, and then it's by city and county and state and federal, and you're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. What's going on? And I need help. And so, and my right hand, Ebony has been able to do some work with another firm, which has made the learning curve a little easier on as far as, okay, I feel the confidence there. And I can be a research hound, but as you also know, I can easily be distracted. So I could be working on something else, then chase the leaf over here in government contracting, and then be so consumed over there. So, and then not really get the depth and breadth that I really need in order to pull the trigger, so to speak, on actually doing it. Because it's one thing to say that you want to do it. It's one thing to see the benefit of doing that. But if you don't actually pursue it fully, then you're just talking. And I definitely know that that's something that I've been wanting to do, but I have never pulled the trigger to actually get it done. So it will be great to be able to interview you extensively on that. There's another gentleman that I know that he is doing a lot of federal contracting as well. And so I'd love to be able to have these different conversations, especially when we're looking at different types of industries that people don't even realize that the government has all of these different contracts available, but we're unaware of it. We're like oblivious to what's going on. So I'd love to have a follow-up conversation about that. Now, I briefly mentioned in your intro what you're currently doing, but I want you to share with our listeners what Octavia is up to. What has 2019? That's what we're in. Yeah, we're in 2019. What has evolved in 2019 for Octavia Weems?
Oh, goodness. Where do I start? So, 2019, I gave birth to my second daughter in June. I have recently taken on a new job opportunity. I've shifted gears professionally from a director of sales and marketing for a Marriott branded hotel, an autograph collection, to now working as the director of catering for the Renaissance Midtown here in Atlanta. That gear shift just happened. My first day was this past Monday.
Oh my goodness, congratulations. You didn't even share that with me, so I'm surprised with everyone.
Yeah, so thank you. And 2019, my husband and I, we made a business decision with our thrift store. We have an online thrift store, Thrifters Paradise, where we sell our merchandise on several different marketplaces, like you mentioned earlier, Mercari, eBay, and Poshmark. And we decided to reduce the size of our inventory footprint. So we did have our inventory stored in a warehouse, and we were mainly a furniture reseller at first, and we shifted gears and decided to go completely online. All of our inventory must be something that is easily able to be shipped to our customers. So that business decision happened this year. And what else happened this year? I'm trying to think. Outside of having 2 kids under the age of 1, which is under the age of 2, which is stressful enough, I also decided to really refine my consulting business. At first, it was just, I can do everything, the saying of being a jack of all trades and a master of none. And I had to scale back and decide exactly what is it that I am going to master. And what I decided was I was going to master the art of motivating people to achieve their goals. So I knew in doing this, I would have to become a public speaker and work on my speaking abilities and things of that nature. So that's been something that I've been working on. And what else? Can't think. I've been so busy. But I know those are the main things. The store, the kids, speaking, writing speeches, and the art of interviewing. When you are looking for a job, it is a job looking for a job. And it's also a job with preparing yourself for interviews. If you are not actively preparing yourself for an interview, you are destined to fail when you get in front of people. So that's one thing that I've worked on as well. Hence, I got the job, so it worked.
So, how has your management experience benefited you as an entrepreneur?
Oh, wow. Being a manager, especially on the executive level, with a big brand, being a brand ambassador for a huge global brand like Marriott, you learn to stay laser focused on brand and staying on brand and understanding how to pull your brand through an emotional experience for your customers or for your clients or guests or what have you. And knowing that one of the number one things is reporting. Being a business owner is not just all about making the sale. You constantly need to come up with your own report card, which is some type of report. And I think that's something else that if you're, like we go back to the keeping your funnel full and constantly marketing and selling yourself, if you're not taking an account of that, like making a check mark, a check in the box, or writing something on a calendar, if you're not measuring anything, then you have no way of holding yourself accountable to even get better. So being an executive for another company has taught me the importance of reporting, being consistent, having a process and not shifting, like you mentioned earlier, shifting when the leaf blows in front of you. And you have to stay focused. Say, a leaf fell. No, I'm not going to chase after it. I'm going to stick to the task at the hand, and I'm going to really complete it until I jump to the next thing. And I think people, and you'll recognize this even in your own job. Like you do your job very well because the company has created this process, and now you're a cog in that process. And I believe as business owners, we tend to get comfortable with being our own boss, and instead of creating those processes where we become, as the business owner, a cog in our own business. So that's one thing, a few things that being an executive has definitely taught me.
So you have revamped your consulting business, and how does that then, when you look at the service feature of the coaching element, right? Just so share with our listeners about the coaching service that you provide.
So the coaching service that I provide is the name of it is Accountability Starts With You, and it's basically where it doesn't matter what you want to achieve in life. No coach, doctor, pill, or motivational seminar is going to be enough to get you to cross the bridge that you want to cross, right? The accountability piece, it really starts with you as an individual. You have to want to stay accountable to yourself and to the goals that you have set. So my coaching business really keeps that at the forefront and keeps my clients focused on, hey, it's about me and my goals. So I provide the accountability piece as well as the direction necessary for my clients to achieve those goals.
So what makes a person coachable? Because we know that not everyone can be coached, right? What makes
absolutely not. What makes a person coachable is they have to want it. They have to want to be able to, one, be comfortable with being held accountable. Some people have accountability issues. They take it as confrontation, and it's not confrontational. It's, I'm holding you accountable to something that you said you were going to do. And they have to be able to know what their goals are. A lot of people sit as a bump on the log because they have no idea what they want to do. They are kind of stuck in the minutia of just living every day in the minutia of existing every day versus actually living out each day. And they're constantly just distracted. So you got to want to change something in your life to be coachable. And you have to be open to feedback and being open to constructive criticism and taking that information and really doing something about it. If you could be okay to say, oh yeah, I hear you, I understand you say this about me, and you could take that and those words can stick to you, but if you don't do anything about it, then there's no point in even continuing a coaching session. You have to want to change. You have to want it. It all starts with the client.
So you have these two businesses. What else are you doing?
Let's see. What else am I doing? I am working on I have a book that I'm working on.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I have a book that I'm working on, and the book really came out of, there are a few books that are going to get written, however, but one of the books that I recently started, the outline for, has really come from my public speaking career of wanting to be a motivational speaker. I mean, my wig, or I forget what wig stands for. It's like your wild, important goal, right? Mm-hmm. So my wild, important goal is to one day sell specific. You have to be specific with your goals. It's to sell out State Farm Arena here in Atlanta, Georgia, as a motivational speaker. So I want to sell that place out with people who want to hear me speak and motivate them to achieve the goals that they want to achieve in their life. So setting the bar as high, I've started to work on being a public speaker, and I learned that just because I can motivate somebody, there's also a craft that you have to have, and that is crafting a speech. You have to know how to create a speech, and it's just like, okay, now you go down the rabbit hole. Okay, what is the speech? How do you come up with a speech? So I have been a client of ForemanAssociates with having you, right, as my public speaking coach. and getting comfortable with speaking in front of a camera and being comfortable with speaking in front of a crowd. So that's something else I've been working on. And the book came from crafting these speeches. When you write your speeches, you have to have you need to pull things from your everyday life and some of your memories. And I've just been collecting a lot of stories and collecting these stories from my speeches. And I was like, wait a minute, I got all these stories. I can finally write a book. Now that I have the outline, I'm like, where the heck did this book come from? But it's there from all these stories that I've been collecting just from memory and from everyday life. So things that irritate me, things that make me laugh, things that my kids do, things that happen. Luckily, working in hospitality, working in a hotel and a restaurant, I mean, any job that you do around people, you're going to have stories for days because things just happen every single day. Yeah. in each individual's life. So yeah.
So it's I love it because, earlier this year when I was talking to you about a book, I swore that you were going to jump out of your skin. You're like, no, I've got enough. And I'm like, but you've got so many books in you. And so I'm so proud of you for letting that naturally come out of you. Because I saw it and I'm like, it was just up to what stories that you want to share, because you have so many and you have some that people will never know about, but it's still your story to be able to share. And I'm so glad that because now it's like you can, from everything from your experience in management, your experience in the hotel and in hospitality industry. I mean, your experience, the daycare. I mean, you got so many experiences. Your experience as a wife, as a mother, that's like you probably got 30 books in you. So I hope I didn't just.
I think I'm losing you a little bit.
So, really quick.
Okay.
Share some books or courses that you've taken that you believe have been most beneficial to your learning and growth. And what was your takeaway from those?
One book, it's right here on my desk, is The Power of Habit, Why We Do What We Do in Life and Business. And it is written by Charles Duhigg. And yes, that is his name. Because the doohickey to me is just an item that you are unable to call the name of. Yes. But yes, it's Charles Duhigg. And The Power of Habit, the key takeaway with that is anytime you want to change your life, you have to change your habit. And the human brain is a powerful, powerful tool, and it does so much on a daily basis. Every second, our brains are calculating thousands of executions that they have to put out, right? Mm-hmm. So you have this wonderful thing called a habit, to where it's like a habit is autopilot for the brain. It's a program that's running. If you put your brain in the terms of a computer, it's a program that's running in the background that it doesn't even have to that you don't really have to pay attention to. Like if the pilot is flying the plane, he's flying it, but then he has the opportunity to put it on autopilot so he could do something else and focus his attention on something different than actually flying the plane. So that's the one thing, that's what our habits are. Our habits are that plane on autopilot. And so when you're able to master your habit, then you will build these different processes that will make you more efficient as a person. It will make your business more productive, and it will make your client satisfaction will increase once you master your habits as a business owner, or your processes that you just have on automation within your company. The other book that stands out is Purple Cow by Seth Godin. Seth is actually one of my favorite authors. I cannot wait to meet you one day, Seth Godin, with your funky glasses that you wear. The Purple Cow, the key takeaway from that is you have to stand out. I mean, the proof is in the title, The Purple Cow. Like, you'll never forget that. Like, wait a minute, cows aren't purple. But in the book he talks about this, I believe it was a grocery store, and when he went to the store, the guy had a purple cow. I mean, that was just the one thing that made that person stand out. It was buzzworthy. It was something that kept people coming back and wanting to take pictures and wanting to what Steph calls wanting to sneeze about. Steph mentions sneezing, like when you sneeze under a microscope, there are thousands of particles that go into the atmosphere. So it's something that you do that resonates with somebody that they're going to go out and tell thousands of people or hundreds of people about, and then when that person learns of it, then they're going to go out and tell somebody else. I think the term now is going viral. So that was a little bit before his time, but that's basically what his book was about, is what can you do in your business that will make you go viral? What makes you memorable? What will create your own personal tribe, and bring people back to you, and for them to feel some type of familiarity with your brand, with your business. And I'm trying to think of another book, which is a huge, huge book, and it's a collection of several different books inside of it. It's called the Prosperity Bible. That one, I mean, that's a heavy, heavy book, but it's one of the few takeaways from it is prosperity is something that you can have. It talks about some of like the laws of the universe, like laws of attraction. That brings me to another book that I absolutely love, and it's the 12 Laws of Success, 12 Universal Laws of Success. And the gentleman who wrote the book, he's an awesome guy. I wish I could remember his name, and I'm looking around my desk to see if I have the book, and it's not right in front of me, but the 12 Universal Laws of Success. The guy is amazing. He goes over each law, like the law of attraction, the law of I can't remember all of them, but the number one law that I absolutely love is the law of attraction. I mean, you attract what you are. So if you want to attract more clients, then you have to really know who your clients are and emulate that, and then you will attract those people. Having a vision board, I mean, just having your goals visualized on the board, you will achieve them faster based on the law of attraction. And the one last book I'll leave you with is, I'm trying to think of the name of that book. 12 Universal Laws was written by Herbert Harris. His name just popped into my head. See how law of attraction works? Prosperity Bible, The Power of Habit, and The Purple Cow, and I can't think of the other book.
Well,
I'm sure in another, if I have another opportunity to sit down with you, I will definitely share it.
Oh, well, you're definitely going to have another opportunity, because I have so many questions for you. And what is great is that I have other episodes where there's certain themes, as you know, that I tie in, and I feel like I'm like, okay, I'm going to wear Octavia out. But there are future episodes that I'd love to be able to have you share your insight on certain things, especially. Can you hear me? Oh my goodness, I was talking to you and didn't realize I had pressed mute. So I'll repeat myself. What I said was that you'll definitely have opportunities to share that and more with me, because as you know that my episodes are based on certain themes, and just from our conversation, but also knowing certain things that I definitely would want to dig deeper in asking you, I really would like to have you share your insight on some of the upcoming topics, because I'm really trying to deal with the topic of habits, and the topic of fear and failure, and looking, at being present in the now and looking to the future, and how many of us oftentimes are held back because we keep looking in the past, or we keep repeating habits that aren't beneficial, right? They aren't healthy, but they're habits nonetheless. And so I'm definitely going to invite you back. Now, share with the listeners how they can contact you online or elsewhere for coaching, consulting, to access your online store, Thrifters Paradise, or if they just need to be able to say, hey, get that book going, lady, because I'm ready to buy it.
In the age of social media, right? The number one way to contact me is through Instagram, or like I'm old enough to say, like the young folks say, on IG. So my handle on Instagram is my name, Octavia Weems, and that's OCT as in Tom, A, V as in Victor, IA, W, E as in Edward, E as in Edward, M as in Mary, S as in Sam. So it's at Octavia Weems on Instagram. And you can also visit OctaviaWeems.com for coaching, for booking your session. For Thrifters Paradise, we have our own website. It's thrifters.paradise.store. So Thrifters with an S, paradise.store, and that's STORE. And for all of our different marketplaces, you can visit Mercari. We're at Thrifters Paradise. On eBay, it's Thrifters Paradise. And then Poshmark is the only oddball out. So at Poshmark, it's at High End Thread. And I'll eventually update our website with that information as well. But if you hit me up on Instagram, I can definitely provide all that information. I think Instagram is just so much easier as having as a base for communication.
I agree. So do you have any parting words for our listeners?
I would say if you are just starting out or even thinking about the business, do what you enjoy. Take a complete inventory of all of your strengths and the things that really make you happy, and do that one thing that you enjoy doing so much that you would do it even if you didn't get paid for it. Personal story, I absolutely love talking to people about their businesses. I love talking to people about how they can be more successful, and I didn't even realize that was the one thing that I have done consistently for the over 15 years and not getting paid for it, and now I'm able to monetize it. So definitely I encourage you all to do the thing that you absolutely love to do without even thinking about it and not getting paid for it, and I guarantee you'll be able to monetize it and really make a career and living out of it.
Thank you for sharing that, Octavia. It has been an absolute pleasure. I wish I could keep you on the line for much longer. We would turn this into a 2-hour episode.
Oh my goodness.
But I will definitely bring you back very, very, very soon. Very soon, so that we can continue a part 2 and to go further along these lines. And then, of course, like I said, I wanted to bring you back for other episodes to discuss the government contracting and some other things as well. But I know that you have a lot to do. I want to thank you again. I appreciate you for your time. I appreciate you for sharing some things that even I didn't know about you. But for things that to just really be able to help people. We're all going through our own things, and oftentimes we do use social media. We look at social media and we think that something's just groovy, great for someone else and not for me, and boo-hoo-hoo for me. And to be able to listen to someone share their story. And, of course we can look at all the greats, the people that have, made it, they're millionaires and billionaires. But I really want to be able to allow people to speak to other folks that they're going to see in the Publix and the Kroger and the Ralphs and the Baskin Robbins on a regular basis, and to get to hear their story. And to get you to share something, and you may not have already written that book, but these are just one more things that you get to share in a chapter, and one more thing that you get to inspire someone else, so someone else can say, you know what? She did it. I can do it too. She has 2 children under the age of 2, and she's juggling all of this. You know what? Maybe I can do it too. I can take those baby steps just like she did. I can pick myself back up just like she did, and I'm going to do it starting today. And so I just want to thank you so much for taking time out of your day to share with all of us.
You are welcome. I definitely enjoyed myself. Thank you for the opportunity, and I had an amazing time.
Yay! Well, with that, I will let you go, and I will be talking with you soon.
Alrighty.
All right. Thank you, Octavia.
Thanks.
Bye. Well, folks, you know what that means. Welcome to another episode of... I mean, you don't you know? What is that? Yeah, it's that time. It's time to wrap up. I was gonna throw you off and say it was another episode, but it's not. It's time to wrap up and go our separate ways until next week. If you have questions or suggestions about this show, please email them to us at don'tcallitsmallbiz with a Z @gmail.com. I want to share a quote. My mother shared a quote with my sister and I this morning that I think is just so awesome, and it's an African proverb. And it said, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. I will leave you with that to ponder, contemplate, and decide what you think is best for you. Be sure to check us out on Instagram and Facebook at ForemanAssociates. We're also on Twitter at ForemanLLC. And you can follow us, share us with your friends, colleagues, and family. Be sure to also follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn at Natasha L. Foreman. Reach out to me. Say hello. Share your story. I look forward to meeting you. Don't forget that you can also text us your questions and suggestions for this podcast at area code 404-481-1849. Please note the standard messaging rates apply, and this is a text-only number. This number does not accept voice calls. I keep saying it, but people keep calling us. I want to make sure I give proper credit for our show. The theme song is Higher Up and is by Shane Ivers. Thank you for tuning in to the Don't Call It Small Business podcast. Thank you for sharing these episodes with others and for your continued support. And don't forget what I tell you on each and every episode. Don't call what you're planning, thinking, dreaming, or doing little or small. Go big, go bold, or go nowhere. I will see you here tomorrow for episode 21 of Don't Call It Small. And of course, I will also share some entrepreneurs that you should get to know next week. Have a super awesome day and week, everyone. Talk to you tomorrow.